Welcome everybody to session 6. This is a beginner guitar lesson for those that are ready to work on their guitar playing. So we're gonna just start with a little. I want you to see that everything I'm playing is within the frets that we've been learning. Playing it nice and slow so you can kind of see my fingers. I'm just staying right in those first 4 frets, huh? It's kind of cool, huh? That you can stay within those 4 frets and make some cool noise. Some chords are a little harder than others. That was a hard chord back there. Okay, so the reason why I played that little Bach piece was that you could see that all the actual fingering was all within this framework, and that's why we've been just working on that framework in the beginning lessons. So I know, like, so many people are taught guitar through like chords. Oh, my hair's sticking, but sorry about that. But so many people are just taught chords, and that's okay. Nothing's wrong with those chords. They're good. You want to learn chords. Um, but I'm more of a technique guy. I like to like work on technical things and try to get our fingers to do them, and that's what's going to help you get better and play longer, because you're going to have more ability to do technical things. What's up, Dante? Hey, buddy. Hey, Dante. How's everything going over in the far wherever you're, like in India? Aren't you in like Indiana or something, or Chicago or something like that? Um, I just remember you're out there. So hope you're doing good. Very good. So we're doing these beginning guitar lessons. This is number 6. So hey, John. Hope you're good. So on these beginning guitar lessons too, we're going to work today on our right hand a little bit. So I've kind of been doing a lot of things here, but I haven't done a lot of teaching here. So I want to kind of teach this area. We have 2 hands when it comes to guitar playing, and we have a brain, and we have our eyes, and that helps to connect with our brain and our hands. But we certainly need to get these hands working together. So, on our right hand, it's important that we kind of establish a couple different kind of techniques that you can do. So you can play, of course, with a pick, or you can play with your fingers. And it's up to you. Like, if you want to do more just regular kind of strumming playing, you might want to just use a pick. It depends on what kind of, if you're trying to do rock guitar, if you're trying to play more kind of a folky style, you can play with your fingers. Today we're going to work more with our fingers with guitar. So if these are for kids, these lessons are more for kiddos. So I always try to get the kids to understand how to play guitar, not just with a pick, but also with their fingers. So it's important to kind of learn that you can play with your thumb in the bass notes and you can play with your fingers in these other notes. And that's how you get things to sound cool, like. So you can see how that works, right? Kind of a cool little another Bach piece. But you can see on a lot of these, it's thumb and then it's these fingers, right? Another Bach piece, right? Jesus, joy of man's desiring. Amen to that. And so you can see where your right hand is important. If I was playing with a pick, I couldn't play these pieces, right? I could just play chords. And worship songs are like that. Like if you're used to hearing worship songs, maybe you're a kid and you've heard your parents play worship songs, you can hear that kind of sound. You are so good to me, you hear my broken heart. That kind of sound, right? It's just a chord. They're just strumming chords. So strum. So I remember doing kids worship years ago, and it was really cool. You play these. That kind of pattern. So what we're going to work on today is just getting our fingers to kind of practice doing certain techniques. And it's going to sound a little boring, but that's okay. Nothing's wrong with being a little boring. Again, if you want to get good at something, you got to work at it and you got to practice. I didn't get to where I am by just kind of sitting around and playing chords. That's not how it works. If you want to get better, you got to put in the technical work. So kids or adults that are learning, just practice these techniques. So like what you want to do is, like, if you want to get better at your fingering, what you want to do is, we're just working with this chromatic scale. And if you've never played this before, if you're just getting these lessons for the first time, just work on this. This is just a pattern of working with your first finger on the first fret, second on the second, third on the third, fourth on the fourth. That's all we're doing. We're not getting out of that framework. And what we're doing is we're just starting on 1 and going to 4. And then what I want you to do is on your right hand, just work on practicing with your I and your M. But now starting to do something different, because we've already done this a little bit, is starting to do 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now what I'm doing with my fingers, just so you know, is there's 2 kinds of strokes that you can do with your right finger. Meaning you can either do a tirando or apoyando stroke. So these are either a rest stroke or a free stroke. And you can hit it and rest on the next string. You can see how I'm doing that. And what you're listening for, and it's good just to practice like this sometimes, and just hit and rest on the next string. And hear like what the sounds are like. You can tell by your nails how your nails are striking the string. Like if your nails, if you're hitting it too sidewards and you're making too much of this kind of sound, you might want to stay away from that. So you might have to adjust your hands. And that's what you want to do. Everybody's built differently. So everybody's, you know, what's the word? Everybody's physics are a little bit different, so you have to kind of work on that. It's just like playing sports. No one's going to run the same way or kick the ball the same way. Sorry about that. Allergies, man. Whew. Anyway, so try, and then a free stroke is where you hit. Check this out. You hit and you come off of it, but you don't lift up, but you just come off of it. So I'm not resting. I'm actually moving up. So that's different ways. Now, when you're playing a chord, you're playing more where you're hitting and coming up. You're not resting. But sometimes when you play a little lick, you might actually rest the finger. So you want to practice when you play this string, by the way, the low, this first string, you actually aren't going to rest because there's nothing to rest on. But try to just go 1, 2, 1, 2, and you're using your I and your M, what's called your M. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Just work on that. Keep your thumb kind of anchored with your hand. You get the picture of it, right? Where you're just cranking, you're working on this right hand to develop some technique in it, right? So it's not just doing this, but it's actually learning how to pick a little bit now. Now, to get tricky with this, so you can start learning how to use the other fingers, you want to learn to use your A as well. So you want to, like when you're playing, when you're picking, so you can see this better, I'll kind of turn, but you want to now start using your M and your A. So I'm still just doing 2 each. You can see how that's working, right? So you just want to, and then what you do is work with your I and your A. So these two, if I can pull them up, there, those ones. So it'd be, and just hit 2 at a time. And it's pretty easy. Just sit in front of, watch your favorite show, watch The Twilight Zone, and just go back and forth. Just I, and then that's my A. Now, the cool thing about learning that, learning how to use your fingers, is because when you do play these, sometimes you can roll in a little strum. Kind of cool, huh? So you can do a little roll. You know, but you have to learn how to get your fingers moving. And so these little scales, just helping out your fingers, getting used to your fingers on the string are going to help out. So just hit that. And then try, instead of doing patterns of 2 on each string, try patterns of 3, try patterns of 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see how that works. And just develop that kind of pattern. If you can get it smooth, pretty clean, you know, where you're not tweaking all over the place, then you're jamming. You're starting to get it. Your brain's starting to pick it up. That's what it's doing. So you can see how that works, right? You can see how that works. Now that's going to help you in all your playing. So all you're playing, if you're picking, see, you're going to be able to play that. So sometimes even when you're doing like worship songs, you'll be able to do that thing. You don't always want to, even if you played worship songs just with your fingers. So you can see how playing with your fingers can be way cool. So there's times where you certainly in worship you're playing with strumming, but then at times it's nice just to slow it down or just to kind of develop something a little different. So that's why you work on these certain things. Now all we're doing is just going 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. That's all we're working on really with our scale, right? That's it. And then you just work on these patterns. Now, if you're used to playing with the pick and you want to work on that and you already know chords, a little bit of chords, then work on your different patterns, like different strumming patterns. And in order to work on strumming patterns, you have to know a little bit about rhythm. Well, so rhythm, there's different time signatures in music, right? So not everybody's running at the same speed. Not every song's cruising at the same speed, right? Some people are running fast, some people are running slow, some people are running in little weird runs, right? Little syncopated that we call in music, little jumps. And so sometimes there's a little strumming patterns, that we use. So different, right? So sometimes things are a little quicker, some things are not, right? So you have quarter notes, eighth notes, 16th notes, 64th notes. You have different kind of patterns. You can run it in so many different ways, right? There's 3 notes per beat, there's 6 notes per beat, there's 8 notes per beat, you can do all kinds of stuff, 5 notes per beat, really awkward. You can do triplet patterns. If there's songs that are really cool like one of my favorite worship songs actually is a song, Humble Thyself in the Sight of the Lord. And it's an old song, but it just starts off with this like kind of humble thyself in the sight of the Lord. And the pattern is 1 2 3 1 2 3. So it could be counted like this. 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 2 3. So it could be counted in different ways depending on what you're emphasizing. That's the neat thing about rhythm, is sometimes if you emphasize a certain area, the actual time signature switches. It's really trippy like that. That song happens to go into this weird part of it sings this, that he will lift us up. 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2. So it jumps from a 3 pattern, or really 3 feel, like 1 2 3 1 2 3, to 1 2 3 4 1. And sometimes songs will do that. So sometimes songs will switch that. Hey, McKenna says her dad loves that jam. That jam's cool because it has 2 time signatures. Now some people, they might play it actually wrong because they don't realize that, and they kind of mix it up. but actually that song does have 2 time signatures in it. So it starts off, humble thyself in the sight of the Lord. 3 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 1 and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So now we're in 4. But then it goes back to this 1, 2, 3, 1. So the reason why I'm telling you this is because the rhythm has to do so much with this right hand, right? That's cranking out. How do you do rhythm on your left? It's kind of, it's kind of different. You can maybe play a little rhythm hammer on and pull off thing, but this is the hand you're looking at. So like for kiddos, I've had them just work on these little bar chords. Just going the 4th to the 4th fret. And all we're doing is just doing 1 note and then 2 frets over right below it. That's it. But there's this pattern. This is just back and forth. Then try this. Upstrokes, 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 upstrokes. Try downstroke. Downstroke, 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 downstroke. So you can see how that works. You can go back, you can go down a lot. Going up a lot is a lot harder, but it's kind of cool. I don't have a pick right now. I'm just using kind of my fingers to pick. But if you had a pick, you can do that. So different patterns, there's different strummings. You can do like a 3 pattern, 4 pattern. So if you emphasize the 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, it sounds kind of tribal, right? So that's kind of, you have to start thinking that way with your right hand. So when you're playing a song, you kind of think of how that strum pattern goes. And sometimes it's good just to work on your upstrokes, just to go play a chord if you know a chord. Then go down 2, go up, down 2, up, down 2, up, down 2, up. Then go down, up, up, down, up, up, down, up, up, down, up, up. So you can see how I'm just mixing it up, but write it down on a piece of paper. So if you're a kiddo, get your parents, say, hey, let's write down some patterns. Let's go down, down, up, up. Let's go down, up, down. Let's go up, 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 down. So get crazy with it. So you can go. Isn't that cool? So you play these different kind of styles of your right hand, and pretty soon you'll be able to, when you get all the chords down, you'll be able to actually play what you want to play. However you want. And that's really what you're trying to do, is be versatile in your playing. Just like with anything in life, versatility is awesome, right? It's great if you work on a car and you could change the oil. I mean, that's a real cool thing. Sweet Home Alabama. I know, it's kind of sounded like it, huh? however it goes. Anyway, yeah, you get the picture. But my point is that in changing oil is that it's cool if you could change the oil and then do the brakes, and it's kind of cool if you could change the brakes and do the oil and then change the spark plugs, and then it's cool if you can blah 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 and build, right? And so that's what you're doing with your right hand. You know, you're building. So whether you're working on just just work on a scale, this chromatic scale, just super simple, really easy. It's just every note. It's like you don't even have to, I'm not teaching you major, minor stuff right now. It's just so simple. And then if you have a pick and you're going to go over the scale, I suggest that you get your pick and you work on alternate picking back and forth. And you work on just like you're doing it, 2, so that's what and then you're going 3. And it's super simple because the scale is really easy. It's just, and even if you can't do your finger, say you can't get your pinky over here, because it's kind of hard. I mean, for me, I've been doing this so long that my pinky just fits there. It's like a glove, right? But I realize that if you're just picking this beast up of an instrument and you just start playing, you know, it might seem a little difficult. Now, what you can do, let me see if I have one around here. I do. I'm going to take a quick break, not from playing, not from the podcast or the video cast, but I just want to show you guys something cool. So hold on. Let me grab this. Hold on. I'm not going anywhere far. Okay, I'm back. I just needed to grab something that was behind me. Sorry about that. But this is going to help you out. Say your fingers are really not too great. And I know I have some friends in the house right now that their fingers aren't the best in shape for the guitar. Buy one of these, or just ask your worship leader. Just say, hey, do you have one of these capos laying around? They probably have a bunch of them just hanging out. And you ask them and say, hey, listen, I need one of those. Grab one of these, and this is going to work to shrink the neck for you. Just put it on your 5th fret, okay? Put it by the fret, not on the fret, just behind it. So when we say 5th fret, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, put the capo right behind it, and then lock her up. It's really easy to use these. They kind of just go like that, right underneath your neck, like that. And then it kind of just, you'll see it just press against it. And now we just shrank the neck, right? But now guess what? Now when you this doesn't work anymore, right? You can do anything over here and it doesn't matter because it's all blocked off. It's got a roadblock right there. So just think, we put up the roadblock, all that matters is this area. So now the cool thing is these frets are smaller. Isn't that cool? So now when you put your fingers on the neck, you're going to, I guarantee you're just going to go, whoa, dude, this is awesome. Like I can play a little easier. And it'll be easier. So say you don't have the capo and you're playing up here, these things that I'm teaching you, it's going to seem hard, even though we're just working in this area, right? We're just working in this area. It seems hard because the frets are wider apart. So when you put this up at the 5th fret, just behind the fret, and you lock it down. And so if you're a kid, hey, man, and you're small, hey, let's put this bad boy up here. You can put it anywhere you want. It's going to sound high. The pitch is going to be higher, but so what? You know, so what? Your fingers, you can get on the first 4. So then you're just working in this area right here. All we're working with in these lessons is 4 frets. That's it. Man, the rest of them, whatever, right? That's for my next class. But this one is just the first 4. So we're just working with that scale, that what's called a chromatic scale. It's just every note. I mean, how easy is that? I mean, you don't even have to, you can just, I mean, you're just hitting every note. That's it. It's just every note. So you can't go wrong because you're hitting every note, every and any note, right? But, and then you're just working on technique though, getting your fingers, if you have a pick, I know it seems weird, but just get your fingers used to that. Try to keep your your pick close to the strings. Just stuff like that, you know? I mean, that's really simple. You know, if you know some chords, work on your strumming. I mean, it sounds cool, right? It's like kind of a weird strum, that pattern. But again, write your patterns down. Just go, hey, what do I want to work on today? Down, down, up, 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 down, down. Whatever it is, just write it down. So when you're sitting in front of your TV or whatever you're doing, just doing nothing, or just with family members, you know, just sit and grab a chord and just try to get a rhythm. Keep it real consistent. Try to keep your hand a little loose, you know, that kind of idea, right? So that is kind of the way you can play, and it makes it much easier on your fingers too. So you're not reaching so far into left field. So hopefully that helps you guys to start working a little bit on this hand. We're working on just working on our fingers, just little things like that. We're working on our A too, this finger. I'm not using the bad finger, right? I'm just using the A finger, the ring finger, right? And I'm switching off with my middle finger. And just do 2 at a time. And that might be really difficult for you guys. Just go slow. Nothing's wrong with going real slow. You know, the Bible tells us that, you know, to sit, you know, to stand, to walk. And sometimes in guitar, we just got to kind of sit and just kind of, you know, and then then we're able to stand, and maybe we're able to do a little more, a little faster. And then we're maybe able to walk. So it's also, we can, you know, really cool sounds, right? I mean, that's so pretty. So bless you guys. Have a great one. And if you want to stay with me, I'll be doing session number 7 for the more skilled players. But hopefully that one will help you guys out. And I'll be back in like 5 minutes. Just going to take a quick break, and then I'll be back on. So hopefully we'll see you guys soon. Okay, take care.